quarterback Bryce Young, of a sophomore from California, he just continues to be affirmed and show that he is the unquestioned starting quarterback here for the Crimson Tide. Thus far in fall camp, the young man has been tremendous. And in the scrimmage, Bryce Young, 3 touchdown passes. According to close sources I've talked to within the program, 2 of his touchdown passes came in the scrimmage. The third one came in a 2-minute drill situation. So the 2 that came in the scrimmage, he had a 10-yard touchdown to one JoJo Earl, and I'll get to the freshman wide receiver later on in the show because that guy is something special, Mr. Earl right there. And then Bryce had a 13-yard scoring strike to Cameron Latu at tight end, and Latu is starting to become Young's favorite target. He really likes Latu down there in the red area. We saw in the spring game he had Latu for the 59-yard score. So big number 81, the former outside linebacker of whom has transitioned to tight end, Bryce Young, really likes to target him, especially in the red zone. And then Bryce's third score went to Trey Sanders in that 2-minute drill situation. And Sanders, as we'll speak on him a little bit later on in the show, he's starting to really come alive here in fall camp as he's been that warrior working back from the injuries he suffered there in the car accident during the middle portion of the 2020 campaign. But, Bryce is doing his thing. And Saban mentioned after the scrimmage that he was proud of Bryce. He said Bryce played well, performed well, executed the offense, ran the offense very well. He said the guys around Bryce, everybody around the sophomore needs to step their game up more, and that's on the offensive line, that's at the wide receiver position because, Coach Saban, Bill O'Brien, they want to see Young have as many opportunities as possible to create big plays, create explosive plays, get those huge chunk yardage looks there on the field. And with everybody being on the same key, with everybody being on the same wavelength and on one accord, playing at that high level, then Bryce is going to be able to have more of those explosive plays. But in terms of just his performance, singling him out, Coach Saban said, hey, young man did a great job, proud of his performance. He continues to take those steps forward. After discussing one Bryce Young, we can now get into some of the other offensive highlights that took place over the weekend. First and foremost, Paul Tyson. Paul Tyson had a good first scrimmage. I was told by close sources that he had over 200 yards passing, looked in complete control of the offense running the second team, looked in sync, had the biggest touchdown of the game. Tyson had a 66-yard bomb to Thaiu Jones-Bell. Talk about young receiver stepping up. Thaiu Jones-Bell caught that big bomb there from Paul Tyson and took it to the crib, and along with that, Tyson converted some third downs with the second-team offense. He also led a 2-minute drill down to the 2-yard line, took that offense down to the red area, and it was about to go in for the score to win the game. Unfortunately, Tyson handed the ball off to one of the walk-on running backs, and the young man got smoked by Christian Story, second-year DB. Young brother fumbled the football in the red area, so Tyson's group was not able to win that scrimmage, but had a good performance, over 200 yards passing with that touchdown there to Thaiu Jones-Bell. As we move in here now to Trey Sanders. Trey Sanders is balling. He had an outstanding scrimmage. He is back. He is the real deal. I mean, I was told by multiple people the speed's coming back. The burst is coming back. The agility is coming back. The change of direction is coming back. It's all coming back for Trey. He looked like the best back on the field. Brian Robinson did good. Absolutely. Played well. Roydell Williams, Jace McClellan, Kamar Wheaton, they all had good moments, but people just kept telling me, Steven, Trey Sanders, Trey. Oh my gosh, he looks good. The burst, the speed, the agility, change of direction, it's all coming back. It's all looking good. Number 6 is out here taking them to school on the field, and not just in terms of the running ability, But I was even told, Steven, he's showing shades of Najee Harris in the passing game. Soft hands, catching passes, running routes, making plays in the aerial attack game as well. So this is really good for Trey Sanders. And U.S. fans, you have stated that Trey being healthy, this could be the best back on Alabama's roster because he can do so many things. We all know how good he is. We all know how talented he is. We all know the 5-star product from IMG Academy. The main question we've all stated, can he just give this program 1 year? 1 year full health. 1 year no injuries. 1 year no medical setbacks. 1 year no unfortunate situations. And just looking back on this scrimmage and the information that was handed to me, so proud of the warrior that Trey is. I've mentioned this before. Nick Saban's always been one to say, what is your resolve when you face adversity? Do you pout? Do you say, oh, whoa, it's me? Do you say, oh, I'm done? Or do you find your way to pick yourself back up and keep battling in there? And Trey Sanders has picked himself back up. He has continued to battle, and man, he looked great in that second scrimmage there. First scrimmage, excuse me. Big ups there to Trey Sanders. As we move this now to the offensive line, Kendall Randolph, like I mentioned, had a slight ankle injury in the first scrimmage, did not finish. It was very minor issue there. He was able to get up, walk off the field under his own power, very little assistance. This is a good thing because this means he should be set to go week 1 against Miami, starting at that right tackle spot. Now, Coach Saban mentioned that Randolph is key to this drill. He's very important in developing this offensive line because of his experience. The young man, a fifth year player. He came in that 2017 signing class there. So for Randolph, he's played in 26 career games, 6 starts. He's played at offensive tackle, offensive guard, and at tight end. He's been worked at left tackle and right tackle throughout the fall, so can play both spots, but is going to start or looking to be the starter there at that right tackle position. J.C. Latham has been getting reps behind Randolph. Also keep your eyes on Pierce Quick, who has put on weight. He's now 6'5", 309 now, so a big man. Pierce Quick is now. But Kendall Randolph slide it there as the starter at right tackle. Just happy to see him be able to walk off the field on his own power. The right ankle, not a severe, not a highly significant injury there. And so as we now transition to the last offensive highlight here, and it goes to these young receivers. The pecking order at wide receiver for Alabama behind John Mechie, it is a fight. I mean, it is a fight when you got guys like Jamison Williams pushing for playing time, pushing for starting time. Javon Baker pushing for starting time. Trayshawn Holden trying to pop out there. Slade Bolden trying to hold his own. It is a fight out there in terms of the pecking order. Now, this group, it's not like Judy, Ruggs, Smith, Waddle, but still a very good group. Still a very strong, very solid group out here at wide receiver. But JoJo Earl had a great scrimmage. JoJo Earl stood out. I mean, had the touchdown reception from Bryce Young. Alabama looking at him to be the starting kickoff returner in that competition. I would probably have him as the starting punt returner if you're just asking me, especially when you look at he's got that quick twitch ability that a Jalen Waddle had. Waddle now in the NFL. But JoJo Earl stood out. Ja'Cory Brooks stood out. And this is the freshman that not a lot of people talk about. People talk Asia Hall, people talk JoJo Earl, people talk Christian Leary. Very few people talk Ja'Cory Brooks. And when you look at his physical stature here at 6'2", a little bit close to that 200-pound range, he kind of reminds me of Amari Cooper a little bit. Just smooth, just real smooth as silk. Get in and out the breaks, in and out of the formations here. So Ja'Cory Brooks is number 7. If you're watching the film here, Ja'Cory Brooks is number 7. You've got JoJo Earl, who's number 10, coming out of the break right there. So Ja'Cory Brooks had really good practice, really good first scrimmage there. Thaiu Jones-Bell, as I mentioned before, Thaiu Jones-Bell, number 14. So Jones-Bell was the receiver who had the 66-yard touchdown from Paul Tyson. He had a really good scrimmage out there, making the big explosive play. And then you had guys like Trey Holden, number 11, who had a couple of big catches out there. Once again, Javon Baker had a couple of big catches out there. Jamison Williams, a couple of big catches. John Mechie, a couple of catches. Slade Bolden, a couple of catches. Not really that one guy that just really stood out and made you go, oh, mama, look at that dude. But a solid group, a solid effort from the wide receiver room. Now, the one thing I want to see is the guys cleaning up drop passes, because I was also told there were some drops out there. You know, John Mechie had 2 drop passes. You had other receivers that suffered with drops. So cleaning up the drops, having, you know, Bryce Young making sure that when he gets those guys the ball, they are catching it, bringing it in, turning upfield. I understand there's no more Devontae Smith, so you know he was the guy that represented those sure hands in terms of that wide receiver room. But you know, these guys, starting off with Mechie, gotta catch the football, gotta bring it in, gotta help your quarterback out there. But we now get into Crimson Tide defense from the first scrimmage. Defense went crazy. Defense went nuts. Defense owned the day. Offense made plays. Offense got, you know, some momentum, some movement going on. We're able to move the ball here and there. But overall, the theme was defense was everywhere. So starting this thing off with the defensive line, Alabama's rotating 9 to 10 deep at every spot. So it's 3 deep. Bama's 3 deep at defensive end, 3 deep at defensive tackle, 3 deep at the other defensive end position. So Bama's rotating guys, bodies are fresh. You know, guys are able to go out there and make plays. Tim Smith was unblockable. Tim Smith was a menace. Tim Smith could not be stopped. I was told this guy is the next Quinnen Williams. They could not hold him. They could not hold Tim Smith from getting to the quarterback. So defensive line scary. Defensive line on its post. Defensive line on its job. Freddie Roach is on one when you talk about this group right here. So that unit 3 deep across the board there. When you look at the Alabama linebacker room, and in particular, just Christian Harris, Henry To'oto, Will Anderson, and Christopher Allen, those guys look like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I mean, they were tearing the field up at Bryant-Denny. Those 4 in particular, Christian Harris had an amazing day. That was a madman. He is going to be a first-round pick. Christian Harris more than likely will win the Dick Butkus Award. That guy was flying all over the field. He and Henry To'oto mesh perfectly together. They work well together. I mean, they play off each other smoothly when you talk about middle linebacker and weak side linebacker. I mean, of course, you know, your two outside guys, Chris Allen and Will Anderson, just teeing off on quarterbacks, running down ball carriers. I mean, those 4 guys are menace to society, and you've got depth behind those 4, in particular at the outside linebacker position. When you look at Trey Sanders, King Wakuda, Chris Braswell, Dallas Turner, a freshman. Keep your eyes on that cat. That dude's violent. Number 15, Dallas Turner. He will craft some type of role, you know, within this outside linebacker rotation. But the linebacker room, really, really good scrimmage. In particular, Harris, To'oto, Anderson, and Chris Allen. And then last but not least, the defensive secondary. This is going to be where the most fun is had. Just so deep in that back 5 and trying to get all of your best players on the field in the nickel and in sub-nickel packages, in dime, and in the sub-dime packages. I've been one to say this. If I'm Pete Golding, I'm crafting multiple packages out of different sets, because you got to get all of your A1 athletes on the field and let those guys do damage. And just in terms of the young defensive backs, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, Kyrie Jackson, Christian Story, they all made plays in the scrimmage. Kool-Aid McKinstry was cracking heads out there. Terrion Arnold, if If Kool-Aid is tied to Saban's hip, Terrion Arnold has found himself in the bosom of Coach Saban, because Saban loves himself some Terrion Arnold. He sat there and said, look, man, Terrion, speed, athleticism, length, ball skills, IQ, like Arnold's got it. Arnold's got it. He's around 190 pounds now. Kool-Aid number 1 here. Terrion Arnold number 12. Kyrie Jackson number 6. Christian Story is number 11. By Arnold, a guy that Saban's trying to create room to get him on the field. Kyrie Jackson number 6. A lot of people have been talking about him, the JUCO, originally from Maryland, played his JUCO ball in Mississippi. He had about 3 to 4 hits in the scrimmage that made you go, that brother own one, Jesus! He got a family, Kyrie, slow down. He got to take care of kids. Lord, Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie had some hits that you were like, some got to give. He was out there hitting. He was out there laying folks out. Kyrie Jackson, Saban, trying to create an opportunity out there for him on the field. And then Christian Story, the second-year player, he had the hit on the walk-on running back that caused the fumble at the end of the scrimmage. So you're seeing these 4 young guys, McKinstry, Arnold, Jackson, Story, already doing some damage, already making some plays here. And Saban trying to get all of these guys, infiltrated into this defensive secondary. And then, on top of that, another interesting tidbit here, Brian Branch, and what's going to be interesting here, Brian Branch is getting some work as boundary corner. He's getting some work as an outside corner and the nickel and dime sub packages here. So keep your eyes on that. They're trying to get a refined role for Brian Branch. But as a whole, this defense flying to the ball, this defense is scary. This defense is way ahead of the offense. And like I mentioned, this is a good thing because the last 3 years, going back to 2018, the offense was ahead with Tua, with the receivers, with the offensive line, with Mac Jones, Najee, Steve Sarkisian. The offense was ahead of everything, and it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fun watching the offense score points, sling the ball all over the field. It was awesome to see that. But for you as the Alabama Nation out there, you always have been one for, but where is our defense, right? It's cool to have an offense. It's fun to have an offense. I'm not taking anything away from them. But where is our backbone? That's the defense. Where is the aspect of football that we hang our hat on as people? That's the defensive side of the ball. Can we have that as well? Can that be going? Can that be full go? Can that be in sync? Can we have a balance of having a fun offense, but also having that defense that has that standard of hitting quarterbacks, stuffing run games, creating turnovers, and just making life difficult for every offense that goes up against that type of an Alabama defense? And I think this season you're going to get back to seeing the best of both worlds.